Well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to focus on this particular news first up because it's caught my eye. I'm pretty certain it will catch your eye very, very soon. As you can see, the highlighted section, Boehly has excessive intervention. The American likes to get involved and have weight in decision on who is signed and sold. We are going to start from here, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, bringing you the latest in Chelsea news. Let's get cracking on. Todd Boehly trying to make Real Madrid's chief scout, Juni, I hope that's how you pronounce it, Juni Calafat, the sporting director of Chelsea last summer. It tempted him, but he was not completely convinced. As Boehly has excessive intervention, the American likes to get involved and have weight in decisions on who is signed and sold. This is from Reliever, who are quite reliable when it comes to Spanish news, and also Madrid Extra has tweeted that out. I'm pretty certain about that, who are also a particular publication that don't dilly-dally around with the news. Look, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that this has been the case. I'm actually quite understanding, because this is what we've seen so far. Someone like Juni Calafat from Real Madrid, their chief scout, their number one scout, seems like does not want to join Chelsea Football Club because he already picked up from the get-go that our owner, Todd Boehly, one of the owners, consistently has excessive intervention. I mean, look, Thomas Tuchel got sacked. There's been a lot of reports that was said once he got sacked that, he was getting dragged into a ton of meetings. He was getting WhatsApped. He wasn't replying on WhatsApp. Apparently, there was also intervention that was applied on the starting lineup. They wanted to get an understanding why Thomas Tuchel was, having those certain starting lineups. He was having to explain to them. Then there was a whole shenanigans and meme in regards to 4-4-3 formation that Todd Boehly wanted Thomas Tuchel to try. And don't forget Cristiano Ronaldo. As much as I entertained that idea, but Thomas Tuchel didn't want anything to do with Cristiano Ronaldo, and our owners were consistently forcing his hand to get Cristiano Ronaldo. Graham Potter comes in. I'm pretty certain Graham Potter has been known at Brighton, and I know he played 4 at the back at times, but predominantly he was playing 3 at the back. There was reports from the Athletic saying that the new owners don't want Graham Potter to play 3 at the back football like Thomas Tuchel. He wanted him to play 4 at the back, when clearly one of the biggest factors that got Graham Potter to shine was the 3 at the back and that revolutionary sort of style where the wing backs were really wingers. He played a different style of 3 at the back, CBs wide, kind of played with a sweeper CB, which was the middle CB. And even during Graham Potter's time, he was trying to force his hand with Neymar. We've seen reports in recent times after the World Cup that the Neymar rumors to Chelsea, Todd Boehly was really having meetings in France, in wherever, and during the World Cup, talking to his representatives, trying to get Neymar in. And we see, as great as Neymar is, injuries have ruined his career so far, and PSG is such a mess. I don't think he wants to leave, but that's another particular scenario where Todd Boehly was trying to intervene. And now I think once that we have all the board members up and running, even now Todd Boehly is trying to intervene and interfere, because I think the board probably really wants Julian Nagelsmann, and I'm not really sure if our owners, specifically Todd Boehly, is completely sold on Julian Nagelsmann. Probably wants to understand why he got sacked so ruthlessly, what has happened with Bayern Munich. I think they fancy Luis Enrique, a little bit more experience. But once again, it goes to the point that he's not entirely listening to the board. And a lot of people have been saying that Americans in general, especially Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital, they hire these people, they hire experts to do the groundwork for them, to do all of those data analytics and doing the PowerPoint presentations and all that. But ultimately, they make the decisions, which is fine. But if you're not an expert in a particular industry, which Todd Boehly truly isn't in footballing terms, he might be a great businessman and he might have made an empire out of it, which is fantastic. Kudos to him. But when it comes to running a football club, this ain't like any normal business. You do need to have the right personnel. You do need to have the right structure. You do need to pick up 3 points, and you do need to win trophies. That's what it all comes down to. It's not all about let's just influx the team with all these young players, hoping that they turn around to be superstars so we can sell them and make a lot of profit out of them. There will be times where you do need to buy the 30-year-old, the 31-year-olds, the experienced players who may not have massive market value down the track, but they will win you stuff. They will bring you the revenue. It's very simple. Football. You win games. The fans get excited. The fans coming to the stadium. Fans, you pick up many new fans across the world. Fans buy merchandise, and your revenue goes up. Wins. It's directly correlated win-wins. Lose often enough and lose in a poor manner, fans stop coming to the stadium. They don't feel excited anymore. Depression hits it. And before you know it, sponsors, and we're going to touch on sponsors, we're finding it difficult to find sponsorship because we're not going to be in Europe next season. It's a different set of business here. Not everything is in your control. You have to win games as an elite football club. Todd Boehly, as I said in my recent Truth Bomb yesterday, do check that out. He's got to wake up, along with Iqbali. The ownership needs to wake up and smell the coffee. You've hired experts in the likes of Vivell, Lawrence Stewart, Paul Winstonley, and many more. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable for the results. Give them the power to make the decision. Of course, they will run all of that past the ownership. Of course, they'll run everything. At the end of the day, the owners will have to make the final signature. I understand that. I completely get that. But you do need to listen to their recommendations as often as possible. And if their recommendations turn out to be flop, turn out to be an absolute nightmare, then you hold them accountable. Then you tell them you have KPIs as well. Vivell, Lawrence Stewart, Paul Winstonley, they all should have KPIs as well. It should not just be on the players. It should not just be on the manager. They as well have objectives. And if they fail to bring in the objective, then they will get sacked too. But you need to give that power. You cannot just completely all the time interfere. It is detrimental to the football club. And check this out. The next related news. John Terry is set to join Leicester City as an assistant. I think Dean Smith is getting an opportunity at Leicester City. So, you know, John Terry has worked with Dean Smith as an assistant manager back in Aston Villa. They did fairly well. Obviously, ultimately, you know, things didn't work out and Dean Smith got sacked. But it makes you think, why is John Terry joining Leicester? What's going on? There has to be a question up in the air for that. He's recently said, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind helping out Chelsea Football Club in the right setup. Well, what more right setup do you need when you have Frank Lampard in the helm at the moment? Is John Terry not interested? Is he seeing stuff internally with the ownership that he feels, I'd rather stay away from this. I'm okay to watch from afar. I don't want to be part of this mess. Is that what's going on? We as a fan base, we need to keep driving this message that the ownership, just be owners. Just be owners. Put out the money whenever the money needs to be put out. Put the signature, the final signature to get things going. Not saying be ignorant and blind to what's going on. Of course, be focused. But let the footballing people that you hired do their job, or else what's the point? What's the point of getting all these people? Really, what is the point? Chelsea are yet to find a new shirt sponsor or new sleeve sponsor. To all the people that was recently saying on my video when I talked about the financial crisis that we find ourselves, you know, sacking and bringing in all these managers and paying so much compensation, you know, earlier today we did a live stream talking about how Ian Martin possibly will be looked at being sold because we need money. People want to sell Cucurella and just cut the loss now. We can't afford to cut any losses. We can't afford to take any more losses. We're in a lot of strife. And this is even more concerning. The fact that we're yet to find a new shirt sponsor or a new sleeve sponsor. Very, very concerning moving into next season. There is so many things up in the air. No manager, no sponsorship, no European football. You got owners that are intervening. Redevelopment plan up in the air. Whole heap of transfer business that we want to do. There's a lot of contract stuff that's also floating around. Players that need to go. It's a huge task. It's a huge task. You don't get this over the line. You don't get some solid shirt sponsors and sleeve sponsors coming up soon. I'm telling you, we will find it very difficult to meet financial fair play regulations. Simple as that. And you know what happens when you don't meet that. Transfer bans, point deductions, fines, this, that, the other. I can understand Chelsea Football Club not being very, very exciting to look at the moment. I mean, we're 11th and we're playing rubbish. We're most likely not going to be in Europe next season unless we do madness in Champions League, which I highly doubt. I would like us to think we can put up a fight against Real Madrid, but then if we do go through them, it's Man City or Bayern Munich. It's crazy times. It's crazy times. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, breaking. Chelsea won Joao Felix to stay, and talks will take place soon. New coach factor, also Joao happy to stay. This is from Fabrizio Romano. I want to give you guys my opinion on it very, very soon. Chelsea board is planning next season's team with Joao Felix. Once again, from Fabrizio Romano, Felix is happy with Chelsea's team and also being in London. New coach will also get a say on the situation, but Chelsea's plan is to sit down and talk with Atletico. The figure Atletico want is around 85 million. This is what I said, because we've already paid about something in regards to about 13, 14 million for the loan. So there should be some sort of a discount. And after the discount, it's probably about 85 million. He is approximately worth around 100 million odd. He signed a contract extension with Atletico Madrid before joining Chelsea Football Club, which preserves his value. Look, let me make it abundantly clear, because there's a lot of stuff that's being said in social media, on Twitter. A lot of people that don't like Felix, quite extreme, and then there's a lot of people that like Felix as well, which is also on the other side of the extremity. This is how I see Joao Felix, plain and simple. I think he's technically very, very gifted. There's no doubt about that. His close control, his ability to play in the half spaces, turn, drive, his dribbling ability. He's got good passing sense. His footballing IQ is very good. There's no doubts about that. His combination that he was having with Enzo Fernandez, Sterling, Kai Havertz, there was something brewing there. Had Sterling not been injured in recent times, I truly think there was something brewing there. Leicester, Dortmund, Leeds, those games, he was highly involved with Sterling and they were doing really well. Enzo Fernandez as well. But I don't want another player, and I get it, he's young and it looks like our attack ticks with him. But I don't want another player that's not going to be able to deliver the goods in the final third. And I get it. He's been unlucky. I'm not going to be one of those fans that are going to bash him and say, oh, it's all his fault. He's actually been unlucky. There were some really, really fine finishes, just ended up hitting the post or the bar. Could have got a hat-trick against Dortmund. Should have scored, I believe, against Leeds or Leicester, something like that. He's a quality player, no doubts. But I need... If we're going with fluid front three next season, because don't forget, Nkunku is coming as well. We don't want to have a front three, assuming, let's say, Kai Havertz needs to go. For me, he needs to go, Kai Havertz. There's no more space for Kai Havertz. Assuming it's Nkunku, Joao Felix, Sterling, and all the other players, Madueke, Mudryk, and so on and so forth, and we don't go for an out-and-out striker, I need these players to score minimum 10 to 15 goals, each of them to, carry the burden. So he's got to put in some goals. He's got to assist goals as well. And that, for me, is a bit of a question mark at the moment. And that has been the question mark with Joao Felix, even in Atletico Madrid. He's never been someone who's pumped in a ton of goals. I mean, could he potentially do that in the future? Maybe. He's one player I would generally say, if you have quality in and around him, you should get the best out of him. He's one that you can definitely bank on that particular statement. There's not too many players that you can say. I know a lot of people will say, oh, this player, that player have quality around them, they'll do better. There are certain players that just don't meet the mark. Felix, technical ability, overall footballing IQ, overall as a footballer, top quality player. It doesn't help him to have habits up front. It really doesn't. And it doesn't help him when you've got Gallagher running wild. You do need good players in and around him. And then when players drop stinkers at times in the likes of Cucurella on the left side, as I said, you do need quality. So yeah, this is my thought. I would think twice. I would really think twice about building a future around Joao Felix. What do we want? How are we going to set up? Who's going to be the new manager? Of course, they'll have a say. Will they appreciate a player like Joao Felix? Does he fit in? Many things to resolve. I won't cry to bed if we don't get Joao Felix, but at the same time, I will be ecstatic if we make him permanent. So that's my genuine thought on Felix. If we don't sign him, that's okay. That's okay in my opinion. But I do rate him. There are concerns. He has to finish better. He has to deliver from that particular side of things. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you thought about everything we spoke about today, specifically Todd Boehly interfering with footballing decisions at Chelsea Football Club. Let me know. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, see ya.